Hello and welcome back to another quarterly update, but my way or the highway. I don't know what that was, but you can already tell what it is. I don't really know how to explain this, but it's 25 books. It's the second 25 books that I've read. So from book 26 to 50, if that makes any sense. It doesn't. So these are the 25 books that I've read since the last video. That makes more sense, actually. But yeah, they aren't 25 here because like 6 are ebooks or ARCs or whatever, so we'll talk about that in a second. So in total, I read 8,061 pages, all of these books. I don't remember how much it was last time. I think it was 9,000, so not that good. Whatever. And that meant that I read 72 pages a day, which is horrifying, in the time span that it took me to read these 25 books, which was 112 days, which was much more than last time, like 22 more. Exactly. And that also meant that on average, it took me 4.5 days to read a book. And the average rating of all of these books is a 3.4, kind of, which again, isn't bad, but it's not good either. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about before I talk about the books that are missing is a very obvious stack, which is the author I read the most from, which is Rick Riordan. Hello. Now quickly, before I rearrange this thing behind me, I'm gonna say the 6, you'll understand why I'm saying 6 books that are missing. So the first book that is missing is a book that is in Shadow and Bone, which I counted as a book, which is a short story called The Tailor, about Genya, if you've read this book. Whatever. I'm counting that as a separate book because Goodreads does count it as a separate book. The other 5 books are ARCs and ebooks that I've read. Obviously, hello. And those are Written in the Stars, House Swap, The 7 Secrets Volume 1, Wendy Darling, and Creatures Most Vile. Those are the books that are missing. Now let's mix this stuff up. So the first way that I mix them is whether they're in a series or not, which, as usual, most of them are. 60%, which is this side, of the books that I read are part of a series, according to Goodreads. And 40% aren't, which I think is pretty usual, I'm not gonna lie. If I look increasingly disheveled and sweaty every time this changes, it's because I'm doing this and it's making me hot. So now I've separated them by genre. Obviously, the bigger stack is going to be fantasy. And again, fantasy is 60%. I don't know why everything is 60%, but here we are. And then together in this smaller pile, obviously, there are books missing in both of them. Again, 16% of the books are contemporary books and 20% are romantic books. So this is like 36%. Maths. And then 4%, which is one book, is a thriller book. Yeah. Okay, now this this large stack is by female authors, while this smaller one is male authors, and this is one author, so beautiful. Now, this part is my favorite part, personally, even though it has nothing to do with maths, really. I really like to know where the author is from, like their nationality. I don't know why, I just do. I find it interesting. So this time I have a lot of different nationalities. As usual, the ones behind me are American authors. I think they're all American, but if they're wrong, please tell me. I think these are all American authors. And now let's go on to the non-American authors. First, I have 3 authors that are British. The first one being Alice Oseman, where I read 3 books from, Holly Byrne, and also Jo Lovett. Then I have an author that is Canadian, which is A.C. Wise, an Australian author, which is Tom Taylor. Anna Marie McLemore is Mexican-American, which I technically could have put it in American, but I think it's different. There's a little bit of Mexican. That's what I wanted. Chloe Gong is from New Zealand. Swedish, representing myself. And finally, the last nationality that I have is Japanese. I don't know how to say his name. I'm so sorry, I'm not even gonna try, but he's Japanese. Not that the stack behind me is looking like a mess. A little bit less than a mess than before, but still a mess. The only thing I'm gonna talk about are my favorite and least favorite books. One of each. I'll try. I think this was my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. This was so good. I think it was the only 5-star in all this thing. So it technically is the best book that I read. Yeah, it is the best book that I read out of all these. Least favorite is hard because there are 3 books here that I hated. Skies Everywhere, the Swedish book that is called Gilded Cage or something in English, and It Only Happens in the Movies. All 3 of those I hated. I'll choose the worst. Probably... Oh, it's so hard. I'm gonna say It's Only Happens in the Movies because that is what is coming into my mind right now, but I hated all 3 of them, so take what you will. But that is the quarterly update moment thing for you. I hope you found it entertaining or fun or interesting to hear about. I don't even know. But that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next weird video. Bye!